Hey, welcome back, everybody. Tmac here, ready for episode number 2. I'm so excited and I can't wait to recap everything that happened here in the National Football League in week number 1. There are a couple little household items that I'd like to take care of first here. Last week when I started this podcast, I didn't have a for sure set name as far as what I wanted this to be called yet. Sports with Tmac was a temporary placeholder. So over this last week, I've kind of gotten some opinions from some friends and some other people. And I think I've come to the conclusion and I've gotten the name here that I want to go ahead and name this podcast. So I'm going to go ahead and share that here with you guys right now. From now on, we're going to go ahead and be calling this podcast Unwritten Rules with Tmac. The logo, as you can see here, kind of encapsulates everything that I want this sports podcast to be, which is covering all sports, a variety of sports, not just one, not just two, but I want to make sure that I cover all bases here. But this is the logo. This is what will be updated to the Facebook page. I'm currently waiting for the name change to be approved by Facebook, as it does take a little bit of time. It said it could take a few days. So once the name change is approved to Unwritten Rules with Tmac, this is the logo that will be getting uploaded to the Facebook page as well. I hope you all like the name. I'll be doing a little segment on my podcast of going over an unwritten rule, so that way it kind of has a little bit of a tie-in feature to it. So I hope you guys all really like this name. It took me a little bit of time and sleeping on it for a few days to figure out which name I wanted to go with, but after doing some research, we kind of found out that there's nobody really with this name with the podcast. I've searched Apple Podcasts, I've searched Spotify, I've searched everywhere. Nothing with unwritten rules with somebody in it, so it's unique. I hope it makes me stand out, and I hope you guys enjoy everything that we have to talk about. So I'll get this off the screen. We'll go ahead and get jumping in here to a recap of NFL season week 1. Obviously the first Sunday of the NFL season here for 2024. Got capped off tonight, 49ers versus the New York Jets. It was a little bit of a one-sided game. 49ers came out, looked like the team that went to the Super Bowl and played the Chiefs last year. Didn't look like they had much rust, despite missing probably their best player. Christian McCaffrey ruled out, calf Achilles injury before the game. Jordan Mason, backup running back, comes in, 28 carries, 147 yards and a touchdown. No drop-off in production. You would have never known that Christian McCaffrey wasn't in the game if you looked at the final score or if you just looked at the stats from the running back. If I took the name away, you saw 28 carries, 147 yards, and a touchdown. You would think it's Christian McCaffrey, but it was not. The offensive line, San Francisco dominated the Jets. It's the worst I've seen the Jets defense look since Robert Saleh took over that team about 3 years ago. Not the performance that the Jets were looking for. Aaron Rodgers, essentially his first game as a New York Jet. Last year, torn Achilles, first series of the season. He's back. He looked like Aaron Rodgers when he threw the ball. He didn't necessarily have the chemistry and the flow going with his receivers. Mike Williams, offseason addition for the New York Jets, former Los Angeles Charger, coming off an ACL injury last year in week 3, was on a limited snap count. They were easing him back in. Didn't have his full arsenal of weapons available to him. Definitely hurt their downfield production. Rodgers was more of a dink and dunk passer, didn't have many downfield opportunities. Credit the San Francisco 49ers defense, as they are one of the top defenses in the league, as they have just one of the overall best rosters in the league, not just on offense, not just on defense, not just on special teams, but the whole thing is top 2, top 3 in this league. And the Jets got introduced to what a top team looks like. Don't think that this is necessarily an indication of what you can expect from the Jets this year. You ran into a top 2 or 3 team in the league very first night, first game back for Aaron Rodgers. So I expect them to progress here over the next couple of weeks, and I expect them to be a team in the AFC that competes and possibly makes a deep run in the playoffs this year. So not a great turnout or performance for the New York Jets. Great performance for the San Francisco 49ers. Now it's just a matter of how hurt is Christian McCaffrey? When do they get him back? And do they need him? Is almost a question you ask. I mean, it's kind of a silly question, right? Who needs Christian McCaffrey? Well, He's the best running back in the league, so of course we need him. But if they have an offensive line that plays like that, and they can allow Jordan Mason to run for nearly 150 yards a game, I don't see what difference Christian McCaffrey makes at that point. But obviously we know Christian McCaffrey is a big-time player. He's definitely somebody that you want on your team. And San Francisco just keeps producing great running backs. So they always have great backups. They always have, young guys that come in and produce when needed. So credit to them and their coaching staff for developing those young guys. And, obviously they're going to be a team to be reckoned with for the remainder of the season, as they're a team that you can expect to see in the NFC Championship game most likely. So obviously that was the nightcap of a day of NFL, or, a weekend of NFL football. That was the Monday Night Football nightcap. Everything that happened from Sunday, obviously there were a ton of games. The one I'm going to go to first here, just because of the controversy surrounding it, is the Miami Dolphins. So if you didn't see before the game, Tyreek Hill, star wide receiver, one of my fantasy players, was detained by police on his way nearly about a block away from the stadium. Claims of he was speeding, careless driving, whatever the case may have been, but they released the body cam footage earlier this evening, and I think there's been a lot of mixed reaction to how it was handled. There was not cooperation a little bit here from Tyreek Hill. There was maybe a little bit of an excessive force situation with the officers after he didn't necessarily comply with their orders right away, or, whatever. So I think if you watch the video, you can obviously make your own decisions and your own thing. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and share with you guys a portion of the clip that you can see from the officer's body cam. And obviously this is something that everybody has a different opinion on. So I'll let you make your own opinion. I'll make this big screen here. We'll go ahead and hit play, and we'll watch this here for just a minute or so.
Hey, keep your window down. Hey, keep your window down. Keep your window down. I'm gonna get you out of the car. As a matter of fact, get out of the car. Give me that. Get out of the car. Give me that. We'll break that freaking window. Get out of the car. Get out of the car right now. We're not playing this game. Get out. 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 What part of that don't you understand? Hey, Drew. Hey, Drew. I'm getting arrested, Drew. I'm getting arrested. I'm getting arrested, Drew. I'm getting out, bro. God damn, twin. When we tell you to do something, you do it. You understand? I'm getting out. You understand? Not what you want, but what we tell you. You're a little fucking confused. I'm getting out, bro. Too late. Chill, bro. Too late. All right, bro. Take me to jail, bro. Do what you gotta do, bro. We are. We will. Good, bro. It is good. Hey, Drew. Hey. Don't worry about it. I hung up the phone. You stop crying. Bro. Y'all. Come on. Good. Bro, you beating on my window like you crazy. Set him up. Why y'all beating on my window like y'all crazy for? Damn, yo, bro. Dude beating on my window like he crazy. I ain't do nothing, twin.
So this Rolls Royce that's driving by is his teammate Jonnu Smith, tight end from the Miami Dolphins.
Hey. Hold on, bro. I just had surgery on my knee. I just had surgery on my knee, bro. I just had surgery on my knee, bro. I just had surgery in your ears when we go there. Chill, bro. Hey, Jonnu, bro. Back up. Hey, call Drew.
The guy in the white shirt to the right there is Calais Campbell, defensive tackle from the Miami Dolphins.
Hey, call Drew, bro. Hey, call Drew, bro.
Tyreek Hill keeps screaming, "Call Drew." That's Drew Rosenhaus's agent.
Hey, listen.
Hey, listen. Hey, man, they got Tyreek. The cops over here beating on him, man. They over here beating on Tyreek,
Listen,
man.
man. Don't park there, man. Just get in
Hey,
the car.
Drew, you gotta come, man.
Just get in the car.
Right up the side, on the side of the
Hey, get in the car. You're parked in the middle of the street.
I'm in the car. You gotta go before you get a ticket.
Hey,
I'm
you're
not
in the car.
Who's the driver? This is my car. All right, move. You gotta move right now. Let me have your license. You're gonna ticket too. Let me have your license. You're gonna ticket. Let me have your license. I'm leaving. I'm not playing. Let me have your license. Your license right now. Your license right now. You're not gonna give me your license?
You're in the car.
You're not gonna give me your license? I'm leaving. Let me have your license. Your license right now. Hey, your license right now. Or I'm gonna lock you up. Your license right now. Your license right now. You're dealing with me now. Your license right now.
So, as you can see, there's quite a lot going on there. And I'm sure everybody has a different opinion, and I'm sure everybody can understand that you need to cooperate with police, right? So if you're going to get pulled over, you're going to roll your window down, you're going to talk to the guy, you probably shouldn't roll your window back up. On the flip side, I don't think that the way the officers handled the situation was any way for a police officer to handle a situation. Was there excessive force used? Probably. But the overreaction or the response to two teammates who pulled over to see what was going on was, in my opinion, unacceptable. Those are civilians. Those are people, anybody can stand on the sidewalk. If it was me, I would have said, I'm on a public sidewalk. I can do whatever the hell I want. He's not impeding anything. They're 20, 30 feet away from where Tyreek Hill is in handcuffs. He's on the phone. The portion of the clip you didn't see, because it was from a different officer's body cam, was the other gentleman in the white shirt, Calais Campbell. All he did was walk up. He got told to walk back, and he did. So, yeah, there's a lot to unpack there. Everybody's going to have a different view or a different opinion on it. I grew up around law enforcement. My brother's a police officer. I don't think that this is the right look for police officers. And that's just the honest opinion that I have on it. Is Tyreek Hill correct for the way he acted? Absolutely not. He didn't obey laws. He didn't obey orders. He didn't be cooperative, as they would say. But I also don't think he did anything that would necessarily warrant or deserve the force that they used. So, it's going to be a controversial topic. It's going to be extremely interesting to see what happens in the coming days and the coming weeks. One of the officers, I don't know exactly which one from the video there. If I was to guess, it's the one with the tattoos on his hand that was talking to him and told him to quit crying and things like that when he was on the ground. But one of them was placed on administrative leave by the department, Dade County. So I'm sure there's going to be possibly more of the officers who are put on administrative leave during this investigation. It's kind of hard to say exactly how it's going to play out. For my sake, Tyreek Hill's on my fantasy football team, and he still had a great game. 130 yards, 8 catches, touchdown. But it'll be interesting to see how the legal process plays out with this one. And for my sake, I hope Tyreek Hill doesn't miss any time or miss any games or anything like that over a little traffic incident there. And yeah, I mean, you got to follow directions. If the cop tells you to roll the window down, you keep the window down. If he tells you to get out of the car, get out of the car. So, we'll see what happens here, and we'll go from there. We'll go ahead and roll into the Chargers. Obviously, I got my Chargers gear on, first weekend of the NFL season, representing the boys. And, man, feels great when we beat the Raiders, doesn't it? I love beating the Raiders. I hope you all do too. Not anything that you've seen from the Chargers over the past 3 seasons as far as the way they've won a game. If you could show me a game in the previous couple years that we won with Justin Herbert throwing 144 yards and 1 touchdown, I would be very surprised to see any game that happened in. It was always, we have to win by throwing the ball 50 times with Justin Herbert in order to win a game. Our defense would give up 30 points a game. Justin Herbert didn't have a chance but to throw the ball 50 times a game to try and compete with that. A Chargers defense that gave up 10 points for a whole game like they just did against the Raiders this weekend, winning 22-10. I mean, I couldn't tell you the last time I've seen the Chargers defense look as good as they did, and really limit the team's ball carrying. I mean, how many times last year and the season before, for the past 2 or 3 years, did we watch the Chargers run defense just get gashed 150, 200 yards? It was almost on a weekly basis. The Raiders had 22 carries for 71 yards yesterday. Leading ball rusher, Zamir White, 44 yards on 13 carries, 3.4 yards average. What a transformation of the run defense under Jim Harbaugh and Mike Minter. A complete 180 from what you would have seen from the Chargers last year. And that's really the story of the game, was their run defense. J.K. Dobbins on the offensive side of the ball, rushing, 10 carries, 135 yards, 1 touchdown. A huge factor, but he only had 10 carries to get those 135 yards. He had 2 big breakaway runs that both probably should have been a touchdown, and even after the game, he came out and said, man, I'm out of shape. Like, I should have scored on those, But coming off of an Achilles injury last year, the year prior to that, he had a torn ACL, or it might be the other way around. I'm sorry. It might be the ACL and the Achilles. But regardless, 2 season-ending injuries over the last 2 seasons with the Baltimore Ravens, comes over, signs with the Chargers, works his ass off to get himself in playing shape and in good enough shape to just be out there to contribute with the team. His first game, 10 carries, 135 yards. Can't ask for much more than that. Really took the heat off of Justin Herbert, 144 yards. He only threw the ball 26 times and had the 1 touchdown. So that's a little bit of not having people maybe to throw the ball to, and maybe not having the weapons around Herbert that you would maybe necessarily want, but it's the DNA of what a Jim Harbaugh team is built around. It's built around the offensive line and the defensive line. You need to win the line of scrimmage, and everything else will take care of itself. Justin Herbert will be just fine. He's going to settle in just fine. If he doesn't have to throw the ball 50 times a game, I'm sure that's going to make him just as happy. All he cares about is winning. So Jim Harbaugh, game ball was given by Dean Spanos. J.K. Dobbins, game ball given to him by Jim Harbaugh. Those are the things you need to know about. That's what happened on Sunday. The Chargers had an unbelievable game, and we get to look forward to week 2. We get to play the Carolina Panthers, who, man, if there's a Chicago White Sox of the NFL, it looks like that is going to be the Carolina Panthers this year. What a pathetic performance against the New Orleans Saints. A complete and total destruction, 47-10. And the 10 points came in garbage time for the Panthers. It was 37-0 or something like that at halftime. It was nowhere close. Bryce Young, I hate to say it at this point, looks like a bust. And I'm somebody who thought Bryce Young coming out of Alabama was going to be one of the premier quarterbacks in this league after a couple of seasons. But man, his stature, his physique, he's small. He maybe can't see over the offensive line. Maybe he doesn't read defense as well. But he looks terrible in his second season. No improvement year over year, at least in the first game. And New Orleans isn't a team that I think anybody was going to be predicting to make a deep run in the playoffs or even possibly be a playoff team. So it's not like they were playing a cream of the crop, talented squad. What a pathetic performance. This is a game that the Chargers should easily win on the road in Carolina. We'll see what happens next week, but this should be a game the Chargers could win. 2-0 going into a Steelers game in week 3. We're going to go ahead and transition over to a little bit of the MLB playoff races. Obviously, things are staying tight in the divisions. For a couple of the divisions, I guess I should say. You got the New York Yankees, the Baltimore Orioles, always separated between a half a game, 1.5 games. It's been a seesaw battle. It's going back and forth, and it's really going to just come down to the wire. We got the Cleveland Guardians and the Kansas City Royals battling a little to Royals have kind of made a little comeback in the division. Still 3.5 games back, but still more than doable to still take over the division if they get on a little hot stretch. Cleveland loses a few games. And those are really the two division races that are probably still up for grabs. Everything else is more, I won't say settled because anything can happen. It's Major League Baseball. But 5 games or more for pretty much every other division. That's almost a lock that that division is going to be won by the team that's currently leading that division. Your wild card races in the American League, there's not too big of a race necessarily. Boston's 3 games back of the last wild card, which Minnesota currently holds. Kansas City Royals, Baltimore Orioles are above the Minnesota Twins. So the American League is kind of figured out. There are 3 teams 3 games back, so depending on how those top 3 teams do, if there's a little bit of a skid from any of them, there may be a Red Sox, a Tigers, a Mariners team that, if they're on a little bit of a hot streak, could maybe sneak in. 3 games isn't too many. But right now, the teams that are in the wild card seem to be the better of the teams in the American League. Over to the National League, you still have the Padres up on the top of the wild card, the Diamondbacks right behind them, and just yesterday, the New York Mets overtook the Atlanta Braves. The Mets have been on an unreal streak ever since the All-Star break, and it looks like they're coming for everybody right now, which is not exciting for me. I am definitely not a Mets fan. I was so happy when the Padres beat the Mets back in 2022 to continue on, in the wild card series, and then got to play the Dodgers in the divisional series. So the Mets are not one of my favorite teams, not even close, probably one of my least favorite teams. But they've been on a very, very hot streak that is concerning, as they do own the tiebreaker over the Padres. So if they end with the same record, they would get the higher seed. And there's no guarantee that the Padres are in the playoffs. There's no guarantee that any of these teams are in the playoffs. The Braves, the Mets, the Diamondbacks, the Padres. It's a tight wild card race in the National League. You can expect fireworks here near the end of the season. Padres end with the Dodgers for 3. Then they have Arizona for 3. That could very well determine on where they're going to end up, if they're in the playoffs at all, depending on how they play the remainder of these 18 games or so. So hopefully the Padres will continue to maintain. They've been on a 2-game losing streak over the last couple days. Our shortstop position is a little bit up in the air right now. Sounds like maybe Xander Bogaerts is going to be able to come back and move back over to that shortstop position, while Ha-Seong Kim seems to have had a setback in his rehab from his shoulder injury. The Padres just can't keep running Mason McCoy out there. He provides us nothing on offense, although he does have a solid glove on the field. He is a sound defender. But we need to put our best lineups out there, and that includes Donovan Solano being in the lineup. So if that means Bogaerts moves back to shortstop, you take Cronenworth from first, you put him at second, and then you can play Arise, or you can play Donovan Solano at first base and DH. You can alternate the two back and forth day by day, but you need to put our best batters and our best hitters in the lineup every single day to give us the best chance of winning. So hopefully the Padres will be able to continue with their run that they've been having here in the second half. Been treading water for the last week or so, 5-5 in their last 10 games. Definitely not the hot stretch that they had back in August. So we definitely need to tighten up the screws a little bit and make sure that we maintain our current position so we're in the playoffs, and hopefully we get to host a wild card home series rather than going on the road in the wild card series. And then that'll be a huge advantage for us, as I don't see us catching the Dodgers. Dodgers are 5.5 games above us. It would take a bad stretch for the Dodgers and a really, really good stretch for the Padres in order for us to be able to overtake them. So we should probably just focus on maintaining the top wild card spot, and we'll see how it plays out from there. Just to go over a couple things as far as what I'm planning on doing for the podcast in the future. I put it on my Facebook page earlier. This was 2 days ago, I want to say, maybe it was yesterday that I posted it. I have a San Diego State Aztecs men's basketball preview coming. that'll be released on October 1st, as that's roughly a month away from when the San Diego State men's Aztecs basketball season will begin. And man, I can't wait for that season to begin. It's a big change up coming this year for sure. And it leaves you in the world of the unknown, right? You have a large roster turnover. You don't have any of the guys necessarily from the previous 2 seasons, other than a couple of the guys who were very young freshmen who didn't really play on the team that went to the national championship. So the roster construction, the starting lineup, the rotations, it's going to take a little bit of work this year for the Aztecs, I think, till you start to see them really hit their stride. So I'll be doing an upcoming podcast, or an upcoming special podcast, dedicated strictly to the men's basketball team, San Diego State Aztecs. And I hope you guys enjoy that. It'll go in depth about who the new players are, what you can expect from them, some, possible starting lineups that you could see, and who to expect, who do we expect, or who should you expect the main guy to be? Who is the star player of this team? Who is the go-to guy? And I don't know if anybody even has that answer yet, but we'll look at a couple of the guys on the team, and I'll give you my opinion on who I think should be and who I think will be. So that's what to expect October 1st. On a weekly basis, you'll be getting 2 podcasts from me. So last week was my very first podcast, so last week it technically was 1. But this one here is first one of the week. You can expect another one by Friday this week. That'll be the second one of the week. And we'll kind of run that same rotation. Tuesdays, Fridays, those will probably be the days you get content and a podcast from me. If there's special things that happen, especially once playoffs start for baseball and things like that, I might go ahead and drop some additional podcasts or additional content that kind of covers all those things. But I don't want to tell you that there's for sure going to be more than that. I'm super excited that I've started this journey. It's been a long time coming. Probably should have done it earlier. Probably should have done it sooner. But all in due time, things work out the way they're supposed to. So I hope you guys enjoy the content that I'm going to bring. I hope you guys enjoy the topics I talk about. If there's certain topics that you'd love to hear about, I would be more than happy to discuss them. You can send me a message. You can reach out to me. Let me know what you want to hear about, and I'll be more than happy to add it into a segment. We obviously have the NBA season starting next month in October, so you'll start to get a ton of NBA coverage from me. As a lot of the people know, a lot of my friends know, the NBA is my favorite sport, so I'll cover the Lakers in depth. I'll cover the whole league in depth. But MLB playoffs are here. That's obviously going to be one of the top priorities for this podcast. NFL season started. NFL reigns supreme. It's king in the United States, most watched. So obviously you'll get a ton of NFL content from me. A couple of the other things that, some of you guys may dabble in a little bit, some of you may not. Something that I've been in my whole life, or very into my whole life, is esports. And whether it's Apex Legends, World of Warcraft, Halo, all those esports and professional gaming tournaments I watch, I'm invested in. It's super exciting. They're games that I've played or I currently play. Not quite as good as all of them. That's why I'm not competing. But it's a passion of mine as well. Not just maybe what people will consider normal sports, but esports is a passion of mine as well. And I definitely plan on doing some special segments over the coming months regarding World of Warcraft, Apex Legends, anything that has to do with tournaments or anything that has to do with world championships. It's something that I have a passion in, and I'm sure there's going to be a handful of people that want to listen and also are dedicated and are very interested in the esports and professional gaming. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this podcast. This is going to probably be one of the shorter ones that I do. But like I said, there's going to be a second one later this week on Friday, October 1st, San Diego State basketball men's upcoming preview. And from there, we're going to just see where this journey takes us. I hope you guys enjoyed your time. I hope you enjoyed listening. Let me know what your feedback is, and we'll talk to you guys soon. Have a good night.